قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر. In my definition, life is to be a father, as a man. That's the goal of your entire life, and thinking about our daughter day and night.
She asking me, I don't want to contact anyone, I change my number. Someone is pushing her.
This is BBC Radio 4. It's 5:30 on Sunday, the 22nd of February.
3 London schoolgirls, aged 15 and 16, and described as straight-A students, are thought to be heading to Syria to join Islamic State.
We don't know exactly what motivated these 3 friends to leave home.
The fear is that those 3 girls have gone to Syria to become jihadi brides.
Police say they took a flight to Istanbul, Turkey from London's Gatwick Airport on Tuesday.
15-year-old Shamima Begum, 16-year-old Khadija Sultana and a third girl who's not been named have travelled to Turkey and may already be in Syria.
That unnamed girl turned out to be 15-year-old Amira Abbas, and like many other young people who've joined the Islamic State, she was a typical British child. She supported Chelsea Football Club and enjoyed athletics, painting her nails and shopping. She was also a conscientious student whose photograph decorated her school walls. Shortly after news of their disappearance broke, attitudes started to emerge that said good riddance to anyone wishing to travel to Syria. But Vice News wanted to find out how these girls were radicalised and what life was like for the families they left behind.
How big, Mom?
How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Not long after their daughter had left, the Abbas family invited us to their home.
Yeah.
Do you spend lots of time looking at her pictures still?
Yeah.
That's Amira.
Yeah.
How old is she then?
14, it's last year.
Hussein fled war in Ethiopia at the age of 16. He sought asylum in Germany but returned to his home country to marry Fetia. The family moved to London in 2004. They chose the UK because of the quality of education here.
She do hard work for her exam. She have an interview in college. That college you have to be A star or A. If you have a B, you can go that college. We share same bedroom. You know, she's sleeping 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, believe me. I waiting her. I with her in the computer, she have another laptop. I next to her always. How come she have a plan this? She can't revise all the time, this all the night. I don't know.
This happened, it's over. It's just over. She's gone. We have to wait.
But before she went away, she asked to change her phone and...
Yeah. She asking me, I don't want to contact anyone, I change my number to me, and then what kind of texting? No, mommy, just leave it. I just want to change my SIM card or my mobile. Someone is pushing her. Amira, she's scared, can't go to inside the house if it's dark. If nobody in, she's staying outside. I don't know. This, I don't know.
And so what was the first time that you found out that she was actually in Syria?
From TV. So she's in Syria? Yeah, from TV.
Good evening. Scotland Yard says it's received information that 3 schoolgirls who disappeared from East London last week have made their way into Syria. It's feared that they're already under the control of the extremist group Islamic State. Khadiza Sultana, who's 16, and Amira Abbasi and Shamima Begum.
The girls' school lies in the heart of a predominantly Bengali part of East London, and as Muslims they were in the majority among their classmates. But unknown to their parents, they weren't the first pupils from the Bethnal Green Academy to leave for Syria. Their school friend, 15-year-old Shamima Begum, had already joined ISIS in December. In utmost secrecy, senior teachers invited the police to interview Shamina's friends on school premises. However, the police failed to anticipate that Shamina would have been attempting to convince those in her friendship group to follow her to Syria. While researching this film, multiple sources close to the case have claimed that in fact Shamina was the driving force behind Amira's radicalisation, after she was radicalised herself during the previous summer holiday.
If I know that if her friend she go to Syria, you have to keep her passport. You can keep your eyes in your daughter. Imagine, I don't want to let to school even after school the club, homework because they have a revision club because they are in GCSE. And then I don't want to let her anywhere if they told us that she go to Syria.
While Amira's parents continued to replay every moment before she left, we approached those responsible for the children at school for a comment. Both the police and the teachers declined. Instead, we found someone with intimate knowledge of how young girls are radicalised. Because she works with radicalised girls on a daily basis, she wanted to remain anonymous.
If there is one girl who has made contact with someone out there and they've been radicalised, they will probably be asked to try and convince others and getting them to believe what you do. I've been told that they tell you to book holidays to make sure that people don't suspect anything, especially family. They say to hand in coursework, to be really conscientious at the work. Just to everything to throw people off guard and to not get anyone suspicious. I have been quite surprised myself at how quickly this whole process can happen within a week or 2 weeks. And the way in which they do that is quite clever. They've got teams that work around the clock, speaking to them continuously, almost hypnotic. One girl said she was even scared to go upstairs on her own, and then she was planning to leave the country. But when she told me the process of it was continuous, consistent people speaking with them, repeating the same thing over and over and over again, that then eventually led this person to think about leaving. Their propaganda has been so effective to these young girls. One of them even described it as an Islamic Disneyland. So that says it all really. They felt that this was heaven on earth.
With the power of the Islamic State's tactics to attract young recruits to Syria already at play, the only opportunity to stop the girls leaving had been lost. It was only after the girls had left that their parents would discover the police's attempt to contact them about Shamina. This was done 2 months into their investigation, via letters handed to the girls themselves, which never made it home. Because of the nature of this case, all 3 families were being assisted by a lawyer who specialised in terrorism offences. I went to meet up with him to find out what was at stake for them all.
Why do these families need a solicitor? Why do they need representation?
Well, the problem is that one wrong step and it becomes a terrorism case for them as well, in that the kids have gone out and they've joined a terrorist organisation. Now, any assistance that those families give to those kids who are now on one view, members of a terrorist organisation would itself be a terrorist offence.
The lawyer was on his way to visit Mr. Abbas, who'd been called to give evidence to a panel of British parliamentarians who wanted to examine what had happened in this case. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Bernard Hogan-Howe, would also be answering questions. Under UK terror laws, the girls could now face any number of charges. Mr. Abbas needed to make sure that 10 years in prison wouldn't await Amira and scare her from coming home.
What's our goal? What do we want?
What we want is back home, safely. My daughter.
Look, you told me about your daughter. She's scared of the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for your daughter to do something as crazy as this, she must have been quite...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, scared. Yeah.
Okay. What do you want?
My daughter to come back safely.
Where?
Not in prison, but in home.
Why?
Because she's already...
Just remember that and keep saying that.
Okay.
Yeah?
She's a child.
I want my daughter back, home, not in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
she's a child and a victim. Okay?
Yeah. Full stop.
Full stop. See? Let's bring her back.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Today would be one of the most important days of Mr. Abbas's life, and he would have to manage the stress of the situation alongside the extraordinary experience of being thrust from his small flat in East London to the Houses of Parliament.
How was your wife this morning?
Yeah, she's not feeling well.
No?
That's why she couldn't come here.
Do you feel sick?
Yeah. But a sickness that I can't describe. The situation makes you breathless, you know. You can't be normal.
How are you going to be thinking about your daughter throughout today?
The questions they ask me about my daughter is natural. I don't need to think about it. Just when I say about her, so I feel like that I'm talking about myself. As simple as that.
What's the ideal outcome today?
The ideal outcome is that Mr. Hogan-Howe says that he's sorry for the blunders that have led to these girls ultimately finding themselves in a war zone, and that he will treat them as victims if they were to come back, because they are children.
Is it possible that there was indoctrination out of school, unknown clearly to the family?
As I know my daughter, it's very difficult to predicate why they leave this country. That's why we are left on middle of nowhere. We really in trouble. Why?
It's specific to these parents that they don't know the answer to that question. In the same way that a parent whose child has been taken away, let's say, falls in love with a teacher and runs off to France, does not know how that happened, but it is shocking to them.
Also, in my view, it doesn't make sense. If we say, for example, I give James missing, it's not a complete sentence, as I understand. Where? That, as a family, we have to know that we can prevent this to happen.
Yes, we are very clear as a committee. What you're saying to us is if you'd known about this letter, if you'd known about the contents,
Absolutely,
you might have been able to... You can't be 100% sure, but you might have been able to prevent them going.
The police were then brought in for questioning about why they didn't fully inform the parents of their investigation.
Well, first of all, we're sorry if the family feel like that, and clearly it's a terrible situation they find themselves in, having lost their daughters in such a horrible way. I'm also sorry that, the letter that we intended to get to them didn't get through. With hindsight, obviously we now know that these girls were planning to go, and neither the family, the police, the school, nor anyone else realised that.
There's an important thing to say here, it's every case on its merits. We have no evidence in this case that these three girls are responsible for any terrorist offences.
In other words, if they return, they will not be returning to jail, they can return to their families.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying today?
Yes.
It was an unprecedented result. Never before had the police offered a potential returnee from the Islamic State immunity from prosecution. For the families, at least, it provided a glimmer of hope in their otherwise desperate situation.
Right, stop now, please.
We found Abbas later that evening as he reflected on the day.
You see, when I think back to my life history, generally living here in England, I've never dreamed, but I'm here now. Anything can happen. Daughter miss. One day, maybe I see her and talk, even forget this day. And as if nothing happened, we can go forward.
By now, the parents were in the media spotlight. They'd been granted a moment's grace from the state, which gave licence to the British tabloid press to scour the internet for evidence of this being a mistake. A video of him at a rally 3 years earlier surfaced in the press. It was of a protest against a film which criticised the life of the Prophet Muhammad. While hundreds of people turned out to voice their feelings about this attack on their faith, extremists used the gathering to shout their claims as well.
I feel that they are trying to create a story that I'm the reason my daughter to go there.
Did it make you wish that you hadn't gone on those protests?
No, because it's already happened. I was amazing what kind of country I am, so I can express myself. I was happy to have that freedom. I mean, this is a bit nonsense. I mean, you go there because you exercise your freedom and label you as you are fanatic and radical and terrorist. I mean, we think that we are fantastic here, not fanatic. Yeah, we're fantastic, grateful, I mean.
When you saw the Daily Mail's piece about your husband, could you have ever imagined that that would be the twist?
Yes, the twist, because the following the people, they're making the demonstration. He don't know anything, just he followed them.
Are you still talking to the police, or are they still talking to you?
No, my lawyer is in charge.
We visited the lawyer once more. By now, most of his time was spent shielding the families from journalists who wanted a comment after every potential sighting of the girls.
Hello? Yeah, it's going to be a no.
What do they want to know?
I think, it's almost cruel. They just want to go, oh look, here are your kids, how do you feel? Well, pretty fucking shit, frankly, yeah? What do you think? Sorry, I need to not swear, but I need to stop swearing.
How are the different families taking it?
Well, Abbas is a dad. In terms of the other families, we're dealing with a sister and a first cousin, so they have a very different dynamic. And I'm a father. If I was in his position, I wouldn't even bother calling 999. I'd have been on a plane straight away, basically calling everybody else that I knew. because the police are just archaeologists, really. Salam Abbas, you okay? Ah. Okay, alright, sure. Okay, sure, once. Abbas is losing his mind.
We went back to the Abbas's home for one final visit, as the reality of life without Amira started to sink in.
How are you coping?
Very difficult to cope. We really, this last 2 months we don't have a word to explain it, how hard it is. We really miss Amira.
Our hope is I don't know, finished, because nobody contact us,
No second without remembering her.
Have you sort of got any more of a sort of idea now why it might have happened?
We cannot guess. We can't guess why this happened. Children, they're a piece of you, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar.
The hopelessness of the Abbas's situation became clearer the longer we spent with them. The immunity Amira had been granted by the police might not matter now that she has married an Islamic State fighter and seems set on making a life in Syria. But the international scale of this story illustrated a fear in every parent who recognised that the 3 girls might have easily been their child. Something in the speed in which this happened confounded traditional ideas of radicalisation. At least in the school it was contagious and didn't take place online but in real life. The authorities will learn from this case, but until it's fully understood what the initial attraction of the Islamic State is for some young people, it'll only be a matter of time before others are drawn to the war zone again.